Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Mike with smartoptiontrade.com. It is Sunday, the 21st of June. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers. I hope you guys are having a fabulous day. Happy first day of summer. Summer is officially here, and this is my week ahead video. No charts today. I barely have time to get this done, but wanted to get this video out there for my members and for all of you guys. And if you want to join us, there's a link in the description below. We'd love to have you join our live trading room. We call out, option alerts, make trades based off of it, technicals, news-based trades, earnings, the whole works. So let's talk about this week. This week, and I'm sorry this is broken into three parts from an economic perspective, but my normal source is having a little bit of an issue. We have nothing on Monday, U.S. PMI flash on Tuesday. Outside of that, not much, right? On on Wednesday, not much there. On Thursday, durable goods, GDP, right? Busy day there with the personal income and spending. So big day there, per PCE. And on Friday, we get retail inventory. So it's going to be a busy couple of days when we talk about that. From an earnings perspective, it's not a very busy week. But that said, we do have Micron on Wednesday, FedEx on Tuesday. TCOM is in there, just a couple little names here and there. And really, we're at the very end of earnings season and getting ready to start a new time. So a couple of them there. I'll be staying late with you guys on Wednesday for Micron. Want to see that live. Sentiment wise, not much has changed here when we talk about what's going on. You look at the oscillator here, and on the NASDAQ, we're at plus 18, just the positive side of neutral, nothing to see there. Plus 14, same thing on the New York Stock Exchange. Your advanced decline lines, they've all kind of fallen off a little bit or rolled down. The Dow here is having the most troubles right now. Highs versus lows on the S&P 500, plus 37 versus negative 53. We've inverted here. So we had been holding positive on the New York Stock Exchange, but now we've inverted. This is something to watch. On the tech-heavy NASDAQ, plus 218 versus negative 217, we have gone back to neutral, right? Pretty much even. Put to call remains neutral, and overall market breadth chopping around, but trying to turn back up on the NASDAQ as well as the New York Stock Exchange. All right, so here's the ES, and we can see we kind of come into this little cup and handle position, and we're trying to break the downtrend here a little bit here on last week, and overall holding in just fine. A lot of people say this is time for June swoon, and it's not unusual to get a swoon from now through the end of the month before we start the earnings season and get a market tick back up again into summer. The NQ, not typing, it's not going in. There we go. All right, the NQ, very, very similar looking, but slightly stronger. Crude, not much going on. U.S. and Iran are meeting. The strait's open, the strait's closed. Everything's fine, everything's not fine. The market doesn't care, and I would just encourage you guys just to ignore it. If crude starts to spike like mad again, I think everything's fine. Crude holding the 200-day. Bonds, another down candle, not what we want. Gold, silver also weakening again. Bitcoin had big candle last week, gave hope, and there it is. It comes right back down. That 68K level is key. Now, I will say this, on a shorter term 3-month chart, if it came down here and bounced off that 60K level, you would have a possible W formation on it, something to watch. The VIX coming smash back down, looks fine. HYG weaker than the markets. The transports hit a new all-time high last week, but didn't hold well. And the dollar here strengthening back up quite a bit, not something we want to see. So for the SPY this week, you do have this little cup and handle formation here, and you do have a little bit of a downtrend if you were to take it like this. And if I was to draw it a little better instead of trying to be quick, it would look something like that. So a break of that downtrend would you probably lead us back to all-time highs and higher prices. Right now, we are holding the 8 and the 21 day. Here's your 3% pullback. Here's the 5% pullback, which we tagged, and your 50 days now come up above that and is at 730 area. So again, dips to the 50-day and hold, all is good. Dips and hold of the 722 would be a possible double and a double bottom. Break of this downtrend would be bullish. So we'll see how it goes. So when we look around the different sectors, we'll start off quickly with the banks. The banks have pushed up. You hit, I don't think the XLF hit, nope, yeah, the XLF just missed an all-time high. However, as we look at that and it came in, we did see many of the big banks hit an all-time high. Goldman, new all-time highs. JP Morgan bounced a huge bounce before coming in, all-time high. Morgan Stanley, Citigroup, for all intents and purposes, an all-time high. Bank of America got there as well. Wells Fargo, obviously the laggard, but the banks had a nice bounce. We also saw a nice bounce in the regional banks. SoFi has had a nice couple-day move. It's worth keeping an eye on, especially if we can get above this into this 19 area. Maybe that one's trying to wake back up. When you look around energy, obviously with the oil weakening, energy broke this trend line we talked about last week. You had this If you looked at energy, was a very well-defined uptrend, and we came through and we blasted below that this week on a gap down, and that is no longer valid. What is still working though is names like Bloom Energy, which is at a new all-time high. GEV also pushing up almost back to the all-time highs. Those plays are working well. The pure nuclear plays, Oklo and NE, not much going on there. As long as we're on it, we'll talk CCJ, which has been weak, but I still like that long term. XBI and Farming and Biotech, this one did push to a new all-time high. Lilly, they're holding it okay. J&J, couldn't break out last week. One of the reasons it pushed was Moderna. Moderna had a huge week, and that's a big weighting in that one, and that pushed it up really big. So you can see how sometimes one name can skew things because the rest of the sector, there's really nothing going on. So it was kind of skewed there by that one. What else should we talk about? Let's talk about some crypto names like Coin. Coin remains overall weak and out of play, but holding underneath the 21-day needs to close over that. Hood had a nice couple of days here. Still looks good. Another inside day would be nice before it blasted back off and can work our way towards 120. BMNR is set to go into the Russell 1000. I think it's on the 26th of June. I need to double check that date. So that could be some forced buying. So I'd keep an eye on this to see how it, BMNR. There we go. Bitmine. That could be some forced buying. So I would keep an eye on that one. MSTR not looking so pretty, and most of these crypto names just not looking all that well. China names to me remain the kiss of death, and I've been avoiding them. Let's talk cloud. IGV broke below its 50-day. He just couldn't hold that bounce. It's giving it all and then some back. And the sector, whether it's ServiceNow, Salesforce at a new multi-year low, Palantir, which just cannot get going and putting almost back to the 3-month low, Microsoft, which got absolutely killed again here. This sector just doesn't look healthy, and it just can't find any leadership. Oracle, which they were all hopeful going to that report, they sold it off and seems to be coming back. Adobe's still in the doghouse. When we talk about the SMHs, this is where they've been coming back to, and this is where the strength of this market is. And you have this huge move up on the SMHs to a new all-time high. DRAM also going to new all-time high. DRAM is the ETF for the memory space and the storage space. And you got leading by Micron, new all-time highs on Friday. They report this week on Wednesday. SanDisk, new all-time highs there. Western Digital, STX, right? These names just don't quit. We come back home. We got names like AMAT this week, put an all-time high in. LRCX put a new all-time high in. Marble had a ballistic move on Friday before giving it back to a new all-time high. AMD continues to hold in well, just off the all-time highs above the 8-day, and that's on my radar for this week. Intel put a new all-time high in here on Friday, gap and pushed up. You're looking for what's not working. Unfortunately, it's NVIDIA. NVIDIA is just sitting here still going sideways. Everybody has their eye on it. Everybody has an opinion on it. The best thing I think I heard was Steve Eisman had Sandy Bernstein on there, and Sandy said the reason why it can't move is because everybody owns it, and it just makes sense. He goes, it's hard for a name to move, and everybody already owns it and can't really afford to own much more of it. So that's why you see the other names going. It's also worth noting names like Dell are holding in well. HPQ, right? These are the the names that make these servers. SMCI had a pop. I just think this name is garbage. Where does this bring us on to? Let's talk a little bit about aerospace. Let's start off with SPCE and their big IPO, and not SPC, SPCX. Sorry, big IPO, and for me here, 225.64 is the next level it needs to clear. I do think it's going to go get that. It is eligible to go into the Nasdaq just before the 4th of July, so you could see some more buying come in. For me, I still own my allotment. I did sell a put. I did buy a put against it. The put is not working well because they're screwing with the IV. Probably should just left it alone, but I'm willing to feel protected. Came down. You got the newly formed 21-day, held that. The 8-day, it's back above that, and this one still looks relatively constructive. I will tell you, SpaceX itself is tradable, but if you don't want to, our friend over at Leverage Shares, SPCH, has been extremely liquid. Look at the volume on this thing, and it's very tight bid ask. Could not ask for anything more. So that looks good. The rest of the sector, Rocket coming back now that it's over. ASTS came back a little bit, but dropped down. ONDS, right? You get the idea of Rocket coming back, the favorite there. And then we go over to big cap tech, and we work our way around. We'll start off with Amazon. Amazon here continues to struggle, but holding the 200-day, maybe a small little W pattern forming here. Really needs to get above that 21-day. Selling their own chips now, market like that. Meta continues to just be absolutely just a tough, brutal name. did fill this lower gap that was wiped out. 560 holds. I think it's okay to try to start nibbling at it. We'll see. Apple didn't put a new all-time high last week, but it's trying to work its way back up. Google sitting here sideways. It looked like it was ready to break out on Wednesday, then came back down, but I still think it can work its way back up. It still looks good. And then we talk about Tesla. Tesla here, it has this downtrend. It's not trading well, though it did have a big reversal on Friday. Really needs to take out that downtrend, then we can go for the 200-day. Last one is Netflix. Netflix just garbage here. I mean, this thing since earnings has been under the 8-day and only closed above it, I think, 3 times now. I mean, it just cannot break above it. Roku did get bought out last week. There is a lot of thought that this is not going to go through. And that is something to keep an eye on, and also thought that other people might get involved. So with that said, guys, if you want to join us, there's a link in the description below. I'd love to have you with us for our real-time trades and get real-time information on the markets. You're not going to find better. And happy Father's Day. Enjoy your Sunday, and I'll catch you guys in the room 8:55 tomorrow morning.